heroes like Tusk, it's actually quite nice to have a bounty, because typically when you have Tusk, you're looking for that target in lane who's pretty immobile. You think even Shadow Fiend and Lesh, for example, who are 2 bans, but these are heroes that actually get very heavily pressured by a hero like Tusk, because he has that really hard engage. Like, you snowball in, you get that guaranteed initiation, and you just go for the kill. So having a bounty hunter who's going to be able to give you that information of where the heroes are roaming around, especially a hero like Tusk, can keep you safe during that laning phase. And plus, you partner that with a Gyrocopter, a hero who has insane AoE damage output. You can actually bait a snowball into something like a call down and a good rocket barrage and maybe look to get some turnaround kills. But both these teams, they seem to have a really good idea of what they want to do, because the bans and picks are actually going pretty fast.
I say it's fantastic. I mean, we're 40 minutes. It doesn't matter. The draft's going to be over in a couple of them. And Winter Wyvern. Now, this is here, I believe, some of the pros were saying to me, if you don't have a player on your team that can't play Winter Wyvern, you're not going to do great this tournament. I mean, this hero under the right hands is incredibly powerful.
I think Winter Wyvern may be one of my favorite heroes for this particular patch, just because of the strength that she can give you at really any stage in the game. During the laning phase, you have Arctic Burn. It's fantastic laning potential. Even against like these Spear Breakers, again, it's a hero who's banned, but we commonly see it in the off-lane role, something that not a lot of supports can really zone out on their own. But Winter Wyvern with Arctic Burn being percentage-based damage, you can hit the hero like 2 or 3 times, and you've already isolated him completely. And then you go into the mid to late game, where you're relying on Curse, and Curse can be just the game-winning ability, right? Say a team is pushing your high ground, you get like a 3-man Curse. How many times do we see that when we were casting Dream League? You know, when Saneko from Na'Vi was playing that hero, it was just completely devastating. So hopefully we can see something similar here from Archon.
And now we're coming up to the 4th ban here from the side of Phoenix, and it's going to be the Dazzle. I mean, Archon, they may have well picked that up. Of course, the Tusk combination, very nice with the Snowball for the heal bomb potential. And I mean, if you've got the Wyvern and the Dazzle on your team, no one's going to be dying.
It's a really good amount of sustain. I think it kind of also says that MVP don't have any intention of picking like an AA, for example, because if you wanted to bring that to the table, you would probably be okay with letting the Dazzle through. And I think that hero is probably going to be seeing a lot more attention, just because how a lot of people underrate how good things like Weave actually are in team fights, like just that minus armor, or even, you know, putting it on yourself when you want to go for a push. And this is looking to be a pretty standard draft so far, I would say, by this patch's standards from both teams. I mean, Undying, we've seen it a whole heck of a lot. They already have a Bounty Hunter roam, or at least we're assuming it's going to be support or roaming, at least right now. And then Undying for the offlane, and we haven't seen what Archon are going to do for their safe lane, but they have ample time to prepare. Like right now, there's not going to be any Seeker, there's not going to be any Spear Breaker. Whatever hero, if they want to do a dual offlane with it Undying, that means that they would have to put Gyrocopter solo at this point. So you can basically just deduce that right now, MVP are probably going to have a solo offlane, which means Team Archon's safe lane shouldn't be too pressured from the looks of things.
Yeah, and of course, picking up the Jar and the Undying, the fact that they're getting that combo, I can imagine a lot of other drafts, especially that involve CIS teams, you're not going to be getting that Undying at this stage. It would have been banned out a long, long time ago. But the fact that they've got both these heroes and they've got this bounty, it's going to mean when it gets to the mid-game, if they can get that Tombstone down, you're looking at Archon's lineup so far, I mean, there are only 2 heroes in, but these guys, I mean, even the Skarath, he is ranged, but they're not the best for taking out the Tombstone. So Phoenix are going to have this potential with the track gold to essentially create a lot of chaos that is going to allow them to excel into the latter portions of the game if Archon aren't able to crush the early stages. And of course, with a hero like Tusk, that's probably going to be what they're looking to do.
I believe with the current picks that Archon have right now, they're looking to shut down the lanes. Yeah. Like, for sure. If this is Skywrath support, which we haven't seen any other Skywrath for a very, very long time. Like, before even, I think, like, TI4 is when people were running mid Skywrath. But they obviously nerfed Mystic Flare a few times. I think they nerfed it twice. So it went from 1.8 second duration to 2.2 to 2.4. So now the hero just isn't really seen as a core. But as a zoning hero, and for going for a kill, you have Concussive, and then you Silence, and then you have Arctic Burn on top of that, and whatever safe lane hero, obviously the Archon pick. That's a very potent kill combination, even for an Undying. So you're going to have to play very, very careful in that lane. And a hero that I don't think MVP.Phx have gone a game without picking.
This, I mean, we were talking about it before the game, Andy.
Yep.
The record in 6.84 for MVP.Phx with the Witch Doctor is 10 wins and 1 loss. So this is a hero with a greater than 90% win rate for the team. So if you're getting it through the draft, you got to be feeling pretty confident about this matchup.
I think this is most likely going to be the offlane hero with Undying, if they do decide to do a 2-1-2. Now, we're still kind of assuming the Bounty Hunter is going to be roaming around a bit. Yeah. And I think that's kind of... I don't think Bounty Hunter is bad at all here. I actually think he's very good, especially if you can get to 6, because once you get track speed, if you look at their heroes, they're all pretty mediocre at chasing, but they all want to kind of chase, right? Like Gyrocopter, you can throw out a Cask, you have Undying, you can chase down with Decay. So they have a good team for chasing once track is out. And I think, like you mentioned, if they get to that mid game and they start taking good skirmishes, Archon with their heroes, they don't really have an avenue of escape, right? Like none of their heroes are mobile at all. And Tusk is a hero who goes in. He can't snowball away. He has to snowball in. So it's a little bit scary for Archon if they don't get their good laning phase.
It's going to be interesting to see what they pick up now as the fourth, as you said, if they are looking to try and crush these lanes of MVP.Phx. We'll see what they decide to opt for here. And also, to think about what Phoenix's final pick is going to be, it's looking like it will need to be their mid-hero. What is kind of left open for them? I mean, looking at what they've been playing in the past, they have actually picked up the TA 4 times in 6.84, and it's a 3-for-1. And looking at what Archon have got, it wouldn't be the worst game to...
Wow,
oh, wow.
Viper.
Now, okay. You don't want to pick it into that, or if you do, you're going to have some fairly big kahunas, but Viper is going to be the pickup.
I do like this pick for the reasons that we just talked about, like TA, obviously not so great against Viper, especially if you are able to get your hands on a pooled tree at the start of the game. It just means that TA can't really do much of anything because of how good orb walking can be. Now, what they could do, if you're MVP.Phx right now, is they could look to go back for something like Storm. Okay. And normally I would say that picking Storm against these types of heroes is risky because Storm still has a rough laning phase.
Yes.
But if you can... Okay, never mind.
There we go.
Bamboozled again. Okay, so
Archon are on top of this, yeah.
The only reason I think the Storm is banned is because if you assume that they're going to try to stop the Storm like before the Undying in the off lane, that just means your Undying is going to get a lot, right? Because ideally, Team Archon can only pressure one lane at once if you're MVP. So MVP are losing their off lane. That means they're probably doing okay mid. And plus, they have very little tools to deal with Storm during the super late game. So once he gets like a BKB, for example, then they only have Curse, and then they have Tuskar Punch, which you don't really want to have to do both of those on a BKB hero. But of course, Archon, they're ahead of us a little bit here. They took it out.
I'm trying to... What do you go for here for this final pick for Phoenix?
It's a little bit rough. I mean, if they're comfortable with TA, you could probably still get away with it. But it's going to be a very, very difficult matchup with the Viper, especially considering like during the mid game, you're also going to have Winter Wyvern, Arctic Burn, Ether Refraction as well. Like it's...
What I know again, it's not great against the Scarif, but there are a fair few heroes that aren't going to be. But what about the Puck?
Puck's actually not bad. Puck can avoid a lot of incoming damage here. The only problem with him is that during teamfights, if he gets silenced... Oh, it's a PA. Okay, so they're gonna
guess that one.
They're gonna get a little bit of a lane switcher, I think.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's either gonna be one of two things. It's gonna be a dual lane mid, or the PA is gonna go mid, or it's gonna be gyro mid. Like those are pretty much the choices that MVP have right now.
Yeah, so I mean, so why the PA in this situation?
PA is really good against Team Archon as soon as BKB is out, because their heroes actually have almost no physical damage output, and the one hero that doesn't want to transition into MKB. Now he can go for Silver Edge, right? But that's going to have to be his item, because otherwise evasion decimates Archon right now. Like, what right click do they have? They have Viper and Tusk, but that's not going to be enough to kill a PA.
I mean, and this is welcome. We'll have a bit of a fun here, fun time. Corruption's going to be cool. Again, well, you're still going to be get credit if you draw that the old PA. But what do we reckon?
If the Legion and Silver Edge is PA and then duels, it's a pretty easy duel win.
Yes.
And it's not as if MVP.Phx have a lot of disables. Now they have Witch Doctor Cask, but that's pretty much it. They're not going to really be able to stop the duel from Korok, at least in a way that would make him not be able to deal enough damage to kill, right? So then you're going to also have Winter Wyvern, who has great range. The Skywrath Legion Commander combo is something we've actually seen quite a few times in the past, right? Like before the Flare nerfs. But because duel lasts a minimum of, I think, 4 seconds, maybe it's 4.5 at level 1, but you always get the full duration of the Flare, no matter what. So it just makes sure that you can utilize that ulti and make sure you get the kills. And against a hero like Peter, that combo is going to kill him every time.
I think that was something that I was going to point on as well. We're talking about the fact they want to crush the early laning stage, and we're going to see March heading straight out here to the top lane to get some ward out into the dire jungle. But as you said, if they're able to crush the lanes, you know, Archon are get to a point where they're doing really well. PA hasn't managed to get something like a BKB online. They're going to be able to potentially continue to snowball the game, and that was quite literally as well with the Tusk being picked up as well. And Archon are actually going to go for a straight 5-man smoke up here from the base. They knew that the Undying was going to want to get this warding out, and thanks to the TP, in fact, from March, he's been able to do that without being discovered at all if he heads straight back to get the block off. So, all in all, very nice play there from the Undying, getting that vision out straight away.
Is he?
Oh, is he gonna
God! Is he actually going to run right into him? If he gets snowballed, he's dead. He's so dead.
Oh, God. The Undying, he's been spotted out. They're going to skill Ice Shards first
nice.
to block him in the tree line. He's going to get a very nice 4-man decay off, but it's not going to be enough. March is going to fall down, and that's going to be first blood. They're going to Fogs on the Skywrath Mage. And why did he have to walk that way, Andy?
Well, the pathing that they took is pretty bizarre, right? Like, they walked across the river, they walked behind, they were going to go like for a dive behind the tier 1. He might have assumed that they were just either going for the rune or maybe even going for some kind of aggressive smoke, but I guess since the rest of the team didn't see him, the safer play obviously is to sit by the tower or to sit in the side of the woods, but of course hindsight's 2020.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, also I want to mention, talking about the leeching of Martin, Febby coming up the lane here. He's going to bump into the old MSS and start getting the scout on. We'll see how much Febby wants to try and prioritize sniping the courier. I mean, they're going to know he's there. The Tusker spotted it out, so he's not going to send the courier out. He's actually just walked into tower range.
Okay.
So they certainly know the bounty's there. So the courier's pretty much safe and sound, and it looks like Fogs may even hang around there to be the courier to help out the Viper if he needs anything delivered. Now he's going to play it safe. And Febby heading towards the mid lane, maybe seeing if he can get a bit of harassment down onto Ush. And just trying to help the lane out here for the PA. I mean, in terms of how the lane matchup goes, is this an alright time for the PA, or is she going to struggle a lot against the Viper? I mean, melee versus the Viper is never a nice lane.
Well, the one thing about PA is, even though she is melee, she has daggers to throw, right? Like, off cooldown, you're going to be throwing daggers for CS. Once you get to level 3 or 5, you can typically get most creep kills, even up against a hero like Viper. The nice thing about PA, too, is she can jump on anyone, right? Like, you have this blink, and you're going to have the stifling dagger. So if you get an Orb of Venom up on Febby, you start hitting them, you throw a dagger. A hero like Viper actually cannot stand and fight that, which is why you see Fogged rotating over to mid lane. He realizes that if they go all in on Ush, there is potential that MVP can just straight up kill him with a bounty and a PA.
I mean, we've got the Scarf here as well, yeah, pressuring poor old Kyo here on the PA. And top lane, I mean, March, he's been able to get a little bit here. He's trying to do what he can to stop Krok's farm. I mean, it's 7 for 3 at the moment on the Legion, 6 to 1 on the Gyro down here. So similar stuff going on both sides, but a lot of focus around this mid lane, just trying to help this PA get this good start. I mean, in terms of lanes, who's going to be happy at this point? Do you still feel the lanes of Archon are just that little bit stronger?
Well, for the time being, Archon are going to be winning top. Mid is pretty much a 50-50, and I'd say if you're PA in this game, trading even is a win. So I'm here, you're going to see an example of what I mean. Like the Janata, he's going to blink forward, and I think he's just dead.
He's going to go for it here on Ush, and Ush, he's got a self. He might need to try and pop it. There's no point now here. They're going to dive, and they're going to get it. Febby should be able to just get out. He's got a shadow.
Nice.
No! He is dead. But all in all, certainly worth it picking up that kill there and getting the old Viper there, helping out the PA in the mid lane.
It's kind of hard to anticipate stuff like that because the PA can jump on you from so far away that you just have to play super far back. So I can't even really blame Ush too much for dying there. It's just a matter of maybe not being familiar with like that particular hero duo. Because honestly, how often do we see PA mid? Right? It's not very common. So I think after that death, he'll realize the kind of potential that they have, and he'll probably respect the kill potential a little bit more.
And now towards the top lane, we are going to see Febby head up there. There's also Skywrath wrapping around here, Fogged with total damage. Yeah, you're going to need to be a little bit careful here, March. He's got the tombstone available if they want to try and kick it with Febby getting the hits in, and he's going to drop it straight away, but with the Skywrath ripping round, March getting low, he's got to decay in a couple of seconds. He's not going to be in time, going to keep Chill alive as he bottom braces himself, stopping Febby from being able to find the kill. Febby turning to Fog, pulling down the Skywrath, and the creeps actually help bring down the Wyvern. Krok, the tombstone's going to be enough. They lose the Legion as well. It ends up being a 3 for 2. What a mess of a fight, and well, if you're not able to take down the tombstone quick enough, that's what it's going to do in those kind of engagements.
The one downside to that engagement for MVP is both their heroes were dead by the time the first hero of Archon died. So instead of getting some EXP, they really only got the gold for it.
Yes.
But still, like a 3 for 2 in that situation was fantastic. Like, no doubt about it, that was a good trade for MVP.
And a lot of chaos so far in that top lane. They're going to head back here. We're seeing both the supports, the Scarf as well, hanging around Korok now, letting Viper have a bit of a free farm time here. In the mid lane, PA, though, with a 19 for 6.
She's winning, man.
She's having a great time thanks to that kill that Febby was able to help her get in that situation. I mean, how's the bottom lane looking? We've not really talked much about this bottom lane here with KP and Nuts up against this off-lane Tusk. I mean, MSS so far is hit level 3. I mean, not funny yet. What's the Undying looking like in response? Yeah, he's hit level 4 thanks to that little bit of a fight that went on. So, all in all, the offlaner, this Tusk not really doing a lot for the side of Archon so far.
Well, I think he's just trying to wait it out, you know. Get to level 6. You can start rotating before that if you feel like you can.
She's in a lot of trouble here. Kyo going forward here. There's going to be the backup of March and Nuts as well. There's no escape for the Viper. That's going to be another kill on this Viper in the mid lane. Now, Viper, of course, one of those heroes, if you do shut him down early, he's not the best comeback king.
No, definitely not. Viper is maybe one of the worst heroes to play from behind because he's typically the team mech carrier as well.
Yeah.
You pick that hero for 2 reasons. I want to dominate my lane, and I want to get to mech so we can start doing some 5-man Dota. Like, Archon has pretty good 5-man, I would say, especially once their Skywrath hits 6 and you have that combo with the Legion Commander duel into the Mystic Flare. But because of the fact that MVP have picked a mid, it's a bit unconventional, but it has very good aggressive potential. Right? So you can jump in anytime. QO wants to go, and he sees Febby there. They're going in.
Oh, Febby wants to go for Fogty. He's got March. The Tombstone will be dropped. Croc, he's going to be able to heal Fogged up here. Now Croc trying to turn it around. Going for Febby, and he might just get it because the dust was thrown out by the Skywrath. They'll bring down the Bounty Hunter. Nuts has rotated in now. Now can they take down Croc? Skywrath Mage is still there. Fogged on the sidelines. He's a little bit low. Got to be careful here at the decays. March is going to start diving this with the Tombstone zombies. He might be able to. No, him and Nuts are going to back up. And maybe now Fogty's just going to send out the flare here. Croc. Now he's just going to go back to farming, but all in all, nice reaction there from Archon, keeping Fogged alive and safe and finding a kill and return onto the Bounty Hunter.
That was a really nice play, actually. I think that dust hit him, like, barely
just
on the edge. Middle.
He's going to go for us, but this time there's backup. Chad's there, trying to turn this around, and now Tusk, MSS, he wants to join the fight. They'll take down the PO, they'll look for Febby as well. Dust is there, they'll get him, but KP coming in with a cooldown. Oh, she's getting low, they'll bring down the Viper. Looks like it's all it's going to be. Trying to chase down Chad here. Can he find it? Yes, he can, because Nuts is there. The Ice Shards will hold KP back for a little bit, but not long enough. And they'll pick up a couple, and, well, the rotations from both sides there. Fantastic stuff from MVP and Archon. And he in for 2 for 2, but the fact that KP was able to come in on the jar and clean up, that's got to mean it benefits the side of Phoenix.
Yeah, that was...
it's close. It is very close, though, in terms of the goal next.
I think the fact that the gyrocopter was the one who ended up getting credit for the kills, maybe it's, like, barely advantage for MVP. Nothing really huge, though. The nice thing is that KP had enough presence of mind to know that, hey, I got level 4 Rocket Barrage, I got called down, I should have TP. You know, there's going to be a lot of action mid. We know that QO and Febby have been pressuring Uch, so it's common reaction from Archon to try to stop it. That's exactly what went down, right? So the fact that KP knows that in advance, okay, they're going to prioritize mid because of how much action's been there. I can just be ready for a counter gank. And that's the kind of strength that a gyro gives you.
I mean, so far, how's Korok doing in terms of farm? Just picking up the treads. They did lose the courier here on the side of Archon for a couple of minutes, so that's going to be a little bit of a downside for the team. They're still yet to hit that level 6, of course. We're only 7 minutes in. It's going to be that crucial point where the Bounty Hunter is going to be able to make these fights, which overall, as we're saying, been fairly even in terms of gold swing. But if you've got a Bounty with track, suddenly you can't be taking even trades.
The skirmishes are going to start to not favor Archon if they're losing the same amount of heroes even, right? Like, the only time I guess you could say an even trade is fine with track.
Look at this top lane. Croc coming a little bit close. In comes the cast. Answer's going to be there. Maledict is onto him. He's slipped for the deep now. And, oh, is he going to be enough? Yes, he should be fine. The damage is not going to be enough for the Maledict. Healing up in the fountain there, but a little bit of a risky stuff here. Febby coming into the mid. Do they want to try and go for us? It's going to be hard because Chad is there. We'll have the Cold Embrace available as well. And that's going to be enough to stop any action from a PA and a Bounty Hunter because pretty much the majority they're relying on the physical damage.
Yeah, the Cold Embrace is going to be during the mid-game if the Winter Wyvern is in good position. That's the one thing about that hero that's so difficult. Winter Wyvern is one of the slowest heroes in the game, right? I think it's like 285 base movement speed. So you're very, very slow, but all your abilities have very long range. So positioning is key. You just need to make sure you're in the back line and ready to throw out that ultimate or your Cold Embrace if your carry is getting jumped on by the PA.
Towards the mid lane, we're seeing Archon. They've got 4 heroes here. It is just Febby and Kyo here on the side of MVP.Phx. They've got to be careful how far they push up this lane, because Chad is ready. MSS actually teeping up to the top lane to join Korok here. Maybe seeing if they can turn it around. The Coffee could have come out, and the Ice Shard, they're just going to catch Nuts. The stun will connect, and now with the Walrus Punch, bring him low. They get the jewel up with a heal from March. Oh, no. He's not going to rid the jewel. Korok, he might even die. No, he will find the kill on the Witch Doctor, but he's going to pay with his life. They've lost the Tusk as well. A 2-for-1, and that is, of course, with, well, no one winning the jewel there. So, again, I've got to say, MVP's play has been fantastic in reaction to what Archon have tried to do every time. Ush has now come in on the Viper, but I don't think you want to fight this. There's still people chasing this down. Kyo, he's going to go straight forward onto Fog. This time the Cold Embrace will be there to help him for the time being, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Febby getting the slow on touch. They'll blow up the Scarf Mages. They want more. There's 4 heroes here. Archon, they need to get the hell out of there. Ush getting low. He's going to go down. It's going to be a killing spree for KP here on the Gyrocopter. And this is going to be the point of the game. It's getting a little bit scary. Febby, he is close to the level 6, getting that track online. And this time the fight heavily benefiting MVP.Phx.
MSS just bailed on the duel. Like, he just ran away. I don't know if he was expecting the Soul Rip coming out from March, but that definitely just turned the fight completely. Because maybe if the Soul Rip doesn't come out, they kill the Witch Doctor fast enough to just run away. But instead, the entirety of MVP reacts. They realize if the PA is there, their chasing potential is almost unlimited. Stifling Dagger only has a 6-second cooldown, and you can just keep spamming it, and your team gets closer every single time. And then with Gyrocopter's rundown potential with Rocket Barrage, you can chase across the entire map. Imagine how much worse it's going to be for Archon when that track comes out. Then you're just going to be getting chased forever. There's no way you're going to be able to run. Between PA, Stifling Dagger, and Track Vision, you can't get away. So they need to keep that in mind. The next few engagements, they need to be 100% sure that they're going to be able to get their kills.
And it really feels like the point as well. They're going to push this middle tower, take it. No reaction from Archon, because I really don't know if they can fight 5-on-5. It's going to be very hard for them to take an engagement.
With cooldown, it's pretty difficult to fight into, and the Witch Doctor also has to get up the Death Ward as well. Like right now, Nuts, I think he's like, yeah, he's 100 experience away from 6. And right now, MVP are just taking their time. They're pushing in the tier 1s. They've already gotten the tier 1 mid and the tier 1 safe lane at just 10 minutes in. So I'd say, for now, they definitely have the majority of map control, and Archon are going to have to make a pretty good play to bring it.
Indeed, the sustain, of course, there with Nuts as well. With the good old Voodoo Restoration, and Febby just keeping tabs on anyone that wants to dare come down here. MSS hiding up on the high ground. He's level 7. Brown Boots, 900 gold. Didn't really find a lot from that offlane. And we're only 11 minutes in. I mean, this certainly is MVP sticking to the game plan. You can tell that when they pick this draft, this is the kind of play style they wanted to go for.
Well, if you look at the way that Archon are showing right now, I mean, they're going to be forced back as the majority of MVP are now making their way towards their own bottom 1. But Korok was showing in lane that entire time, and they saw MSS TP back. So they knew they could push to tier 2, because not everyone was there. And Febby, he is almost going to get caught here. They double sentry as well. That's
unfortunate indeed, and it's all unfortunately going to be to waste there. Sentries have been popped down quite a lot. The warding's not been too bad here from Archon. They've got a fair bit of vision of the Radiant jungle, but I guess it doesn't really matter when they're not in their own jungle and they're pressuring the lanes, which is exactly what MVP are doing here. Zoning back the side of Archon, creating the space to take yet another tower. And they may even look to just continue here for the tier 2 on this bottom lane.
I wouldn't be surprised. The one thing they need to be wary of, though, if you're MVP, is Fog is now 6. Now, the Winter Wyvern Chad, he's still level 5, but you cannot underestimate the damage combo that they have. If you get dueled into a flare, you're probably still going to die at this stage in the game. Now, QO is going directly for BKB. I think this is the 100% item build. Like, you absolutely need BKB against this combo because you are going to be, most of the time, the primary target, if not the gyro. But you're also easier to get to because you're melee, and they're assuming you're going to be jumping in, right? So I love the fact that QO is doing this build. And the other thing, too, for Archon, oh, Chad.
QO going straight.
He's got no mana.
Chad. Oh, no, I don't know for the corner break, but he's going to get out now with the cooldown. Death Ward. Korok's going to fly down there to a crit from the dagger, and now Ush is in trouble as well. This initiation range they've got potential with the track and dagger from PA. You just cannot come near this lineup because you're just going to die.
They're getting punished so hard every single time. They're even a little bit out of position. Like, Chad wasn't even on the high ground behind the tier 2. He was just standing there, waiting it out. There was a ward that got him spotted. He got jumped on, and they saw that he had no mana. QO was like, he's got enough mana for maybe one spell, right? And then he's dead. And plus, he's still not level 6. It's 13 minutes in.
Oh,
he still needs 200 experience.
And just look, we're going to get the net worth up on this one. A 7.3k net worth on your Gyro.
Yep.
Is he just bought it? I was going to say he's got enough. With 13 minutes in, he's got a BKB, complete on top of the phase boots and Aquila. How do you fight this man?
I'm kind of wondering that myself. I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at Archon's team. Now, their transition into mid-game is hoping that Korok can kind of snowball off of dual wins because of the Skywrath, right? And that's their game plan. Like, okay, we get our Legion Commander really farmed. He does all our physical damage for us. Our Viper is our mech carrier, but it's 14 minutes in, and this Viper doesn't even have half of his mech. Okay, he actually has more than half, but the real problem that Archon are running into is their heroes have a timing they still have not hit. And these heroes are not good late bloomers. Like we talked about Viper and his not really good from playing from behind, and Legion Commander needing to snowball. None of those things are happening right now. So their last line of defense is hoping, for whatever reason, that MVP try to push high ground maybe a little bit too early when your Winter Wyvern now finally has that curse available. That is kind of the game-changing ability right now, is that curse maybe into like a Mystic Flare or a duel into a Mystic Flare.
And this is a very nice bit of warning here, of course, for Phoenix. They can see exactly this from MSS and Chad coming in. And it's going to be, it just feels very hard for the side of Archon to do much at the moment. Let's have a look at the actual graphs, in fact. What kind of differences are we seeing? XP, not so much, because we've seen he's been continuing to farm here to keep the pace up, but it's the net worth that really shows. Coming up to 10k, 14 minutes in, thanks to these towers and the kills that they've managed to find. And now the track kills as well. We saw a couple in that fight down there early on. Korok is coming up to 2.1k gold. I mean, the question is, does he still go for a Blink Dagger? At this point, the Blink Initiation isn't going to do that much for you. You need to think about building something that's going to help you sustain like a BKB.
I think Blink might be one of the only options, just because how else are they going to be able to catch anyone? Like, how do you start the fight?
Alive. How do you jump into that?
But this is, when you have to ask these questions, that's when you start to say to yourself, they're just so far behind. Because it's not just one item that's going to win it for you, right? You need like minimum 2 or 3. And it's 15 minutes in and you don't have an outer tier tower left. Like, your map control is just gone. And MVP have also placed aggressive boards inside of the woods of Archon as well. And they can still go back and try to do Roshan. Now, if Archon aren't defending a tier 2, there's no way they're going to fight Rosh. Like, they just realize how far behind they actually are, and MSS is getting caught here.
Indeed, the missile's coming through as well. He's going to have the snowball there to maybe try and do something in response, but you're not killing anyone. Nuts is here with the Voodoo Restoration. He's going to get the Walrus Punch onto QI. Now with the Winter's Curse, trying to do this, but he just takes no damage. A couple of slaps to the man, but they've already got the Voodoo Restoration on, so the physical damage the Chad's trying to turn on themselves isn't doing anything. He's going to brace himself, but there's the Rocket Barrage, there's the cooldown. Your Cold Embrace isn't going to help you against that magical damage. Lose 2 heroes on Archon. They can't do anything against the lineup of MVP. And it's starting to look a little bit one-sided here, Andy.
They know their timing so well. MVP had a perfect idea throughout this entire game of what they could get away with at what particular point in time. Like, they TP every hero top to save a Witch Doctor because they know, I mean, the Witch Doctor still died, but they got the tower, and they know that they can just chase forever. And Archon, because of the fact that they put that Viper mid, like, sure, he's got a lot of CS, but the PA is a much bigger problem right now than the Viper, if you look at each hero respectively, because QO has BKB now. He can just jump on whoever the hell he wants. It doesn't matter. They don't have a Silver Edge. They don't have any way of bypassing evasion.
Look, they're looking for a player that, I mean, maybe this is the player, desperation play. They've got to try and find some. They're smoking up, moving towards the pit. Cat has gone in. They know they're taking Roshan. Can they do anything about this? But no, KP gets on the cooldown, pop the BKB. Korok will get a successful duel here onto the Witch Doctor, but KP now on a mega kill streak. He's still fighting in the pit. They'll get the Viper Strike onto KP, but it doesn't matter because March and Q are joining forces to take from the tusk, and now they just turn on she's trying to desperately do something, sitting there, slapping away at QO. It doesn't matter, the PA is poisoned up, but he's still gonna live there. 4 heroes dying on the side of Archon. They only lose the Witch. I'll make that 5. It's a triple kill for QO, 20-9. What are you gonna do as Archon at this point? This really couldn't get any worse for the side.
I think if they had Winter's Curse for that, it could have been a little bit different, because Chad goes in, he buys himself a little bit of time by casting the Cold Embrace on himself to try to go for an Aegis steal, but KP was just on top of it. Like, he got it immediately, and I'm pretty sure Chad might have even died before the Gyrocopter went down anyway, so yeah. I understand why you fight that as Archon, because you're looking at it in the sense that if we can't win a fight and try to get something big back, then there's very little chance we're going to be able to get map control any other way. Like, we have to fight at Roshan because that's our best odds outside of fighting at a tier 3. The only problem is the fight was pretty catastrophic. Like, they didn't kill anyone.
At the least.
They got the Aegis, but that's not, like, a 5-man wipe for an Aegis when you're already behind. It's not a worthwhile trade.
There we go. They are coming into the jungle. They're going to try and kick anything off. Febby scouting this out. We're going to note that Febby, 18 minutes in, he's got Guardian Greaves complete. They're just blinking away now as well. They really don't. They're terrified of QO.
I think he just wants to go.
So. He's just going to jump straight in, going on to Fox here. Over the ice charge, they're creating that physical barrier. I know, QO's just going to chase it down. There'll be the War's punch. The War's community doesn't matter. QO finds the Scarf. He's going to look for Karok jumping forward. Going to have a cold embrace, but again, the damage is just too much there with the Magicals flying through. Everyone's being tracked up. Archon, they're trying to get themselves back to the base. QO held in place, in fact, with the Winter's Curse. Maybe they can kill the bear. No, the Soul Rip, and he blinks away. No one dying on the side of MVP. Archon, they're 2 heroes down, and Walrus punching a zombie out of frustration there, MSS, because at this point, well, I think your options are incredibly limited.
Your options are try to defend your high ground.
Yeah.
Those are your options. You're not going to be smoking if MVP is right outside of your base. So you have to sit here, you have to wait for MVP to maybe overextend. The crazy part about QO right now is that a lot of PAs will go 4-1-4, right? They'll max out their evasion. But QO, realizing how far ahead they actually are, has just max blink. Like, he just wants the most chase potential that he can get, realizing that the track gold is going to put his team incredibly far ahead. Now, Archon's showing right now that they do have very good spam. They can put MVP back, even in a situation where I would say pretty much every early game engagement, barring finding March inside of the woods, and maybe getting like 1 or 2 counter kills in top lane, it's just been all MVP. Like, they've just won every single team fight.
And there we go, Tombstone's dropped. They're ready to fight, and I don't know if Archon are. They're going to throw the Ice Shards onto QO, but QO again just Phantom striking back out. We'll be able to take down the Tombstone, and that might hold MVP off for the time being. But I mean, still, what's this time going to buy you? MVP are just going to look to clear up the dire jungle, continue to find the farm, continue to keep themselves on top of Archon. Looking at the grass now, it's starting to look a little more horrific if you are an Archon fanboy or girl. It's 10k lead in terms of XP. Gold-wise, it's almost coming up to the 20,000 net worth difference between the teams.
I'm thinking right now, Archon's options, like, if MVP continue assuming full map control, like sitting inside of your own woods and farming, the best play typically is to run to the opposite side of the map, which is basically what Archon are doing right now, and they try to farm the enemy woods. But, like, they're kind of lacking in vision at the moment. Like, they can see their own woods, but oftentimes when you ward your own woods, you run into the situation where you already know where MVP are most of the time. If you don't have any towers, they're going to be on your side of the map because they want to constrict your movement, right? They want to make sure you can't go out of base. So sometimes those wards don't really do too much for you right now. It's kind of like deceptive having that vision, and looks like MVP are looking to try to go high ground once again.
Yeah, so the Tombstone kind of bought some time here, which are going to have to take down this, and that's just Winter's Curse. And here's the combo with the Scarf, but he's not enough. QO, he gets the BKB off, and he's Mimicaped up as well. Goes straight onto fall. No, you don't want to look at it go. The Death Mod is destroying them all. Karok's going to fall as well. Viper will buy back, and he is there in the fight, but he's being tracked up, and I think this could be us dying again for the 2nd time in this team fight. He certainly will be a buyback from the Winter Wyvern. It doesn't matter. GG is called and ends with a triple kill here for QO. 28-9. MVP will take the first game of this best of 3 series, and I've got to say that almost flawless performance there from the Radiant.
They just put on a clinic. Honestly, I would say that PA pick was a stroke of genius coming out from MVP. That was such a good pick. When I saw the Storm ban, I was thinking, like, what other hero kind of brings the same thing as a Storm? You got that great mobility. Your laning phase might not be great, but it's good enough. And that's pretty much exactly what Phantom Assassin brings.